Hi there! Do you want to sound more natural in English? Then you must know phrasal verbs. They are everywhere, in conversations, emails, movies, and even song lyrics. Phrasal verbs are tricky, but today we'll make them unforgettable. Instead of memorizing a boring list, we're diving into 5 engaging short stories where all 50 most common phrasal verbs appear naturally in context. This will help you remember them forever because our brains love stories. And hey, check the description. I've got an awesome worksheet waiting for you so you can keep practicing those phrasal verbs until they're second nature. Click the link below, enter your name and email address, sign up for my mailing list, and this PDF will land straight in your inbox. Now let's dive in, and here's something important you should know about phrasal verbs. They can be transitive or intransitive. Transitive verbs need an object. I turned off the TV. Intransitive verbs don't need an object. The plane took off. They're also divided into separable and inseparable. Separable verbs can have an object in between. For example, I turned the TV off instead of I turned off the TV. Whereas inseparable verbs must stay together. I ran into an old friend. To help you learn faster, I'll show you whether each phrasal verb is separable or inseparable. So, first, let's have a look at phrasal verbs that are used for daily life. Story number 1. The day everything went wrong. One morning, Jake woke up to the sound of his alarm. He groaned, hit the snooze button, and tried to sleep a little longer. 5 minutes later, he realized he was late for work. He jumped out of bed, got up as fast as he could, and rushed to the bathroom. Still half asleep, he turned on the shower, but the water was freezing. No time for this, he muttered, and turned off the water immediately. He quickly put on his clothes and hurried to the kitchen to make coffee. But as soon as he opened the cupboard, he saw that he had run out of coffee. Great, just what I needed, he groaned. In a rush, he grabbed his briefcase, picked up his car keys, and ran outside. But when he got to his car, he remembered. He had promised to drop off his friend at the airport that morning. I knew that I forgot something, he sighed. On the way to the airport, things got worse. He hit a traffic jam, spilled orange juice on his shirt, and almost missed the exit. Maybe I should just give up and go back home, he mumbled. After dropping off his friend, barely on time, he finally made it to work. But as he walked into the building, he realized he had left his briefcase in the car. Annoyed, he turned around and came back to the parking lot to grab it. By lunchtime, Jake was exhausted and starving. I need a break, he thought. So he decided to go out for lunch instead of eating in the office. He and his colleague ate out at a small cafe nearby where he finally got his much-needed coffee. When he finally returned to work, he quickly took off his stained shirt, put on his spare one, and sat down. His boss glared at him. Rough morning? Jake sighed and smiled. You have no idea, but at least I made it back in one piece. Now let's consider the phrasal verbs used in this story. Number 1, wake up. To wake up means to stop sleeping. The second meaning, to wake someone up, is to make someone stop sleeping. An example, he wakes up at 7 a.m. She woke up the baby, or she woke the baby up. So as you can see, this verb is transitive and separable. Verb number 2, get up. This means to rise from bed or from a sitting or lying position. She gets up early on weekends. Number 3, turn on. To activate a device, light, or machine. He turned on the TV or he turned the TV on. Number 4, turn off. To deactivate a device, light, or machine. She turned off the lights. She turned the lights off. Number 5, run out. To use up all of something. We've run out of milk. Number 6, put on. To dress in clothing or accessories. She put on her jacket. She put her jacket on. Number 7, take off. To remove clothing or, for planes, to leave the ground. An example is, he took off his shoes. Because the verb is separable, you can also put his shoes between took and off and say, he took his shoes off. The second meaning, the plane took off. Number 8, pick up. To pick up means to lift something or someone. She picked up the phone. She picked the phone up. And the second meaning is to collect someone by car. I'll pick up Tom from the airport. I'll pick Tom up from the airport. Next up we have to drop off. To drop off means to take someone or something to a place and leave them there. He dropped off his friend. He dropped his friend off at the airport, for example. Number 10, give up. To quit or stop doing something permanently. He gave up smoking. He gave smoking up. And the second meaning of this verb is to stop making an effort because something is too difficult. An example is, she never gives up, no matter how hard it gets. Number 11, go out. To leave home for an activity or social event. They went out last night. Number 12 is to eat out. To eat at a restaurant or cafe or anywhere else, basically, instead of at home. We ate out at a restaurant. Number 13, come back. To come back means to return to a place. He came back late last night. Now let's consider phrasal verbs for work and study. Story 2, the big job interview. Lily had been preparing for her dream job interview for weeks. She woke up early on the day of the interview, excited but a bit nervous. As she was getting ready, she decided to look up some last-minute tips online to make sure she was fully prepared. A few days earlier, she had already filled out the online job application and submitted it on the company's website. Now, she just needed to print out a copy of her resume to hand in to the interviewer. Before heading out, Lily double-checked her emails to confirm the meeting time. That's when she saw a message from the company. Her interview had been called off due to the unexpected schedule change. So she quickly called them, and they assured her they would set up a new time later in the week. Well, at least I have more time to prepare, she thought. Since she wasn't in a rush anymore, she decided to go over her resume one more time to make sure it was flawless. With her morning suddenly free, Lily realized she could finally catch up on some tasks she had been putting off. She'd been meaning to update her portfolio, So she sat down and began to write down new ideas for projects she wanted to showcase. This gives me time to figure out how to make my portfolio stand out more, she thought, feeling productive. She also spent a bit of time keeping up with emails she'd missed early in the week. Since she'd cleared her schedule for the interview, she decided to take on a small freelance project to make good use of her time. She'd been postponing it for a while and now seemed like the perfect moment. By the end of the day, Lily reflected on how much she'd put off due to interview stress. With the extra time, she felt more confident about her preparation. Maybe it wasn't such a bad day after all, she thought, feeling accomplished and ready for the rescheduled interview. Now let's check out the phrasal verbs from the story. Number 14, look up. To search for information, typically in a reference book or online, I need to look up her contact information in the directory. Number 15, fill out. To complete a form, application, or document by providing the required information. Please fill out the application form before the interview. Number 16, hand in. To submit something, usually in person. She handed in her report to the manager before the meeting. Number 17, call off. To call off means to cancel something, such as an event or an appointment. They had to call off the event due to bad weather. Number 18, set up. To arrange or organize something, we need to set up the conference room for the meeting. Go over. To review or examine something carefully. Let's go over the presentation before the meeting. Number 20, to write down. To record something on paper or in writing. Please write down your contact details on this form. Number 21, figure out. To understand, solve, or determine something after thinking about it. I need to figure out how to fix my computer. Number 22, take on. To accept or assume responsibility for something, usually a task or challenge. She decided to take on a new project at work. Next up, we have 23, to put off. To delay or postpone something. An example, they had to put off the meeting until next week. 24, to keep up with. That means to continue to follow or stay informed about something or someone, especially at the same rate or speed. She tries to keep up with the latest trends in fashion. Number 25, to catch up on. This means to spend time learning or doing something that you've missed or fallen behind on. For example, I need to catch up on the emails I missed while I was on vacation. Now it's time to move on to phrasal verbs used for social life. Story 3. A surprising turn of events. Sarah and Lily were sitting at their usual cafe, hanging out and catching up on life. Sarah had just broken up with her boyfriend, Jake, and was trying to wrap her head around everything. She stared into her coffee, lost in thought. Lily, noticing Sarah's silence, decided to shift the conversation. So, I have something I need your advice on, she said, leaning in with a grin. There's this guy at work that I really like, and I've been thinking about asking him out, but I'm not sure how to go about it. You know how awkward I am with stuff like this. Do you think I should just go for it? Sarah smiled, happy for her best friend. Lily, you've got to ask him. What are you waiting for? You two get along with each other so well. You never know unless you try. Lily blushed a little, feeling more confident after Sarah's encouraging words. Thanks, I think I will. I just needed to hear it from you. Just as the conversation was shifting to other topics, the door of the cafe opened and, to Sarah's shock, Jake showed up. He looked a little nervous but determined, scanning the room until his eyes met Sarah's. Hey Sarah, Jake said softly, walking over to the table. I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I really regret breaking up with you, and I realize now how important you are to me. I want to try again, if you're open to it. Sarah's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting this. She didn't know what to say at first, but Lily squeezed her hand and whispered, Take your time. Whatever you decide, I'm here. After a long pause, Sarah nodded slowly. I need some time to think it over, Jake. It's not easy, and I'm not sure what I want right now. Jake looked disappointed, but understood. I get it. I'll wait. Take your time, okay? Lily smiled at Sarah. See? You'll figure it out. You've always been the one to take after your mom when it comes to making tough decisions. Sarah laughed lightly, feeling a little better. Thanks, Lily. I don't know what I'd do without you. As Jake walked away, Sarah found herself remembering all the good times they had. Maybe they could make up and start fresh, or maybe some things were better left in the past. Either way, she knew she needed time to decide. You know, I think you're going to be okay, Lily said with a smile. You don't have to put up with anything you're not ready for. But you're strong, Sarah, and you'll figure it out. Now let's look at each phrasal verb one by one. Number 26, to hang out. This means to spend time relaxing or socializing with someone. We love to hang out at the cafe on weekends. Number 27, to get along with. This means to have a good relationship with someone. She gets along with her colleagues really well. Number 28, break up. This means to end a romantic relationship. They broke up after 5 years together. Number 29, to make up. To make up means to reconcile after an argument. For example, after their fight, they finally made up and became friends again. And the second meaning is to invent a story, excuse, or lie. He made up an excuse for being late. Number 30, ask out. This means to invite someone on a date. He finally asked his crush out. Number 31, to put up with. This means to tolerate something unpleasant. I can't put up with this noise any longer. Number 32, to show up. To arrive somewhere, especially unexpectedly or later than expected. He showed up late to the meeting. Next up, we have to take after. This means to resemble or inherit traits from a family member. An example is she takes after her mother in both looks and personality. Now, let's delve into phrasal verbs for travel and transportation. Story 4, the unforgettable trip. Emma and her best friend Jake had been planning their dream vacation for months. They couldn't wait to set off on their adventure to Italy. After arriving at the airport, they checked in at the airline counter and waited excitedly for their flight. As soon as their plane took off, Emma sighed in relief. "I've been looking forward to this trip forever," she said, flipping through a travel magazine. When they landed in Rome, they quickly got on a bus to their hotel. "This city is amazing. I can't wait to take in all the sights," Jake said, gazing out the window. They checked out their hotel room, left their bags, and rushed to explore. As they wandered through the streets, Emma suddenly came across a small hidden cafe. "This place looks incredible," she said. They decided to stop for coffee and pastries, but just as they sat down, Jake's phone rang. "Oh no," he muttered. "My boss just brought up a last-minute work emergency." "Seriously?" Emma groaned. "Tell him you're on vacation." Just then, they heard a loud honk outside. A tourist bus had broken down in the middle of the street, causing a traffic jam. The driver was trying to fix the engine, but an angry man kept shouting at him. "Oh, just go away already," Emma mumbled, shaking her head. "Yelling won't fix anything." They finished their coffee and went sightseeing. At the Colosseum, they unexpectedly ran into an old college friend. "No way! What are you doing here?" Emma laughed. "I'm traveling through Europe," their friend said. "Come with me to this amazing local restaurant." At dinner, Jake realized he'd been eating way too much pasta. "I really need to cut down on carbs when I get home," he admitted. The next morning, they woke up early to catch a train to Venice. As they boarded, Emma stopped suddenly. "Wait, did I leave my phone at the hotel?" Jake sighed. "Hold on, let's check your bag first before we panic." She searched through it and found her phone buried under a scarf. Phew, false alarm. Relieved, they settled into their seats, but halfway through the journey, the train stopped unexpectedly. Due to track repairs, all passengers must get off at the next station and wait for the next train, an announcement blared. "This delay is really going to hold up our plans," Emma complained. "Guess there's nothing we can do except enjoy another coffee," Jake said. Emma smirked. "Or we could find another adventure while we wait." They stepped outside the station and explored the small town nearby. After an hour, Jake checked the time and panicked. "Wait, we're going to miss the next train. We need to turn round and get back, fast." They rushed back just in time to board the train. Emma laughed. "That was close, but hey, at least it made the trip more exciting." Jake grinned. "Let's just hope nothing else goes wrong." Now, let's examine the phrasal verbs. Number 34. To set off. That means to start a journey. We set off for Paris early in the morning. Number 35. Check in. To check in means to register at a hotel or airport. They checked in at the hotel reception. Number 36. To check out. This means to leave a hotel after paying. We need to check out by noon. The second meaning is to examine or investigate something. You should check out the new restaurant. Number 37. Take off. For an aircraft, this means to leave the ground. The plane took off on time. The second meaning is to remove something, usually clothing. He took off his jacket. Next up we have to get on. To board a vehicle, such as a train or a plane. She got on the bus near the station. 39. Get off. To leave a vehicle such as a train or a plane. He got off the train at the next stop. Number 40. To break down. For a machine or vehicle to stop working. Our car broke down on the way to the airport. 41. To look forward to. This means to anticipate something with pleasure. I look forward to my vacation next month. Next up, number 42. To hold up. To delay something or someone. Traffic held up our bus. The second meaning is to remain strong or successful. His argument didn't hold up in the court. 43. To turn around. This means to change direction. The pilot had to turn around due to bad weather. The second meaning of this verb is to make something successful. She turned around the failing company. Number 44. To go away. This means to leave or disappear. I told him to go away, but he wouldn't listen. 45. To take in. To absorb information or surroundings. She took in the beautiful view. And the second meaning of this verb is to provide shelter. They took in a stray cat. 46. To come across. This means to find something by chance. I came across an old diary in the attic. 47. To hold on. To wait for a short time. Can you hold on for a moment? 48. To bring up. To mention a topic in conversation. He brought up the issue in the meeting. 49. To run into. This means to meet someone unexpectedly. I ran into my old teacher at the mall. And finally, we've reached the end. Number 50. To cut down on. To reduce the amount of something. She's trying to cut down on sugar. And that's a wrap. 50 phrasal verbs that will make you sound way more natural when speaking English. Did you catch them all? Let me know in the comments which one you're most excited to start using. Here's the thing. Phrasal verbs are like the secret sauce to sounding fluent. So don't just sit there, get on with it. Use them in your conversations, texts, and everything in between. Oh, and before you go, don't just hit that like button. Smash it if you want more fun English tips. Hit subscribe because we've got loads more content coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Plus, I want to hear from you. What's your favorite phrasal verb? Have you ever run into a tricky one? Let's chat. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You're one step closer to mastering English like a pro. Keep practicing, keep having fun, and I'll see you in the next video. And until then, keep learning and remember, every day is an opportunity to level up your English. Bye.